Hi everyone, this is Jennifer Jalagat, JenniferSpeaks.com. I'm also on Jennifer Speaks on Twitter, JJ Gat on Twitter, Belly Itch on Twitter, and Tick Yaya and JJ Braids, and also on Instagram. So I'm using this opportunity to use Facebook Live to introduce my latest project, which is like a labor of love. It is a blog post I did featuring over 155 Black women in technology, and that's important because, and the reason why I'm doing it right now is because of an experience I had recently over the Christmas holidays. You know how a lot of times, like a lot of companies use the opportunity of Twitter to get folks together and they may like do like a big group photo because they'll have the Christmas party, and so they'll take a group photo and they'll use that group photo as part of their Facebook, the new Facebook profile or the new Twitter profile. And so I noticed that a couple of the social media platforms that I love, that I follow, that I enjoy, that they did that as well. So that was exciting to see. I wanted to see the people behind, who make do all the magic of my favorite sites. And one thing I noticed when I went to those sites is that there was no Black women. And I was like so disappointed. I was like, oh my God, seriously? And we all know in technology generally that is an issue. In the United States, generally, in a lot of professions, there is a diversity deficit amongst, there's a lot of the staff. But in technology in particular, that's a problem. And it's a cyclical problem, and it's generational, and we're always talking about it. But irrespective of the fact that we're always talking about it, it doesn't really change that much. So what we have now is the usual excuses. There's usually two excuses that people come up with as to why there isn't technology, diversity in technology. One of the things they say often is that there is not, we just don't have the skills. Like we can't just hire everybody. So you guys need to get your skills up. Like we have to hire people who are qualified. You have to have a computer science degree. You have to have the background, perhaps have worked at big tech or have, been a serial founder and founded a couple of your own companies before, or you have to have had some sort of, background, and you guys just don't have it. So it's not us. It's you guys. You're the problem. And we all know that's not true because HBCUs at least are going to graduate annually computer science majors, engineers. They're going to have some scientists. They're going to have some mathematicians. So the STEM careers, HBCUs have STEM. So the minimum, if you wanted to find some people of color, you can go there. So we know that's just, that's a stale excuse. And the second thing we hear often is that they just can't find any. And you hear that excuse often when there's usually like a situation where people are putting together like a list of like the top like 20 women in technology, or the top 10 startups to follow, or the next big thing in this industry, whatever. And inevitably, you'll get excited, click the link, you go look. Oh yeah, okay, that's great. And we're gonna notice it that we're just not there. And we know that we are out here, but we're just not making those lists. And the excuse to say we can't find any is such a stale excuse because I personally know several amazing people of color, Black, Hispanic, of course Asian, women who are out here, who have startups, who have who are founding different projects. They're designing different things. They're building and they're inventing stuff, and they're out there. So we are out there. So we know that excuse is kind of like the lamest of all to say that we couldn't find any. That's just doesn't fly. And so when I did this project, it started actually last year. And Catherine Finney, she's an amazing woman in technology. She has a company, a group called Digital Undivided. And their shtick, which I love, is that their whole goal and purpose is to get Black women in particular, funded, or get them founded, or get them out there and, get their face out there so people can know that they're out there, to, perhaps partner with them, or do some mentoring opportunities. Just make sure that, that we're in the ecosystem, and the ecosystem are aware that we're out there. So there's opportunities, because we all know, venture capital funding, angel funding, and, mezzanine levels of funding is really hard to get for anybody, and it's drying up. That sector is just, it's even harder and harder, especially when we just came from a recession. It was really hard to do. But notwithstanding that, and at the bottom of the totem pole, the bottom of the rung in terms of like who's getting funded, is Black women. Black men, and then maybe Hispanic. So we're just not getting the opportunity, not just getting funded. And access to capital has always been a problem for people who traditionally come from underserved, underprivileged, or underrepresented communities. And so we know that's an ongoing problem. So what Digital Undivided do is that's their shtick. So I happened to they followed me, and then I looked at their list. They only have 3 lists up there, and one of the lists was Black female in tech. It was 157. So I was like, wow, so I got to the list, I scrolled down, I was amazed. I was like, oh my goodness, I knew a couple of them, some people I didn't know, but it was amazing to see 157 Black women in technology. It's like, I know they exist, but for them to be able to curate that list, that was amazing. So I told myself, I'm going to take their list and I'm going to blow it up, and I'm going to have 500 Black women. And so the next time someone's curating a list or putting together a tech panel or doing everything, they won't have the excuse to say, we couldn't find any, or you guys just don't have the skills, or, we didn't even know you guys were out there, because this list would exist. This list would be out there. So I was going to do that. That was like last year. And of course, life gets in the way, kids, children, vacation, other projects, and I put that on the shelf and I didn't go back to it. And so what happens when I did that was, didn't think about it. But then recently I had to revisit again with this recent experience, seeing some of my favorite tech and social media platforms just don't have my face represented. My face literally, but just don't have people who look like me represented. So I said, let me revisit it. And I did that. And there's Ijeoma, I forget her last name, but she helped me. And what I did is I took their list and I had to work with it. I started with their list. Some people have, it's 150 Black women in tech to follow on Twitter. So some people's changed their profile, they've moved on, they did different jobs. You know how the turnover rate in any field is really high, but especially in technology is really fast moving. So some people's bios had changed. Some people didn't stop using their accounts, and I didn't want to have inactive accounts there. I wanted to make sure that all the accounts are active. When you click there, you're gonna find people who are they're tweeting, they're engaging, they're sharing content, they're sharing information, they're sharing stories, they're sharing events, and you're learning from them. They're actual resource. So I wanted to make sure it's updated. So I took out outdated lists. I found some new people. I found articles on diverse people in Twitter. And of course, I pulled the Black women out of those. And so I was able to augment it and then streamline it and come up with 155. And it took me a long time to do, because normally, I crank out blog posts like that. They're 2 minutes. You can tell if you ever look at them, some of them are not really that great edited, and you know that I didn't spend much time on them. So, but these posts, this took me a long time to do, and by long time I mean 3-4 days. But that also tells you that, if you want to do something, if you're really looking for, if you really want diversity, if you really want a diverse panel, you really want a list that's inclusive of lots of different people and not just monolithic looking, it doesn't really take that much effort. You assign your junior staff writer the task, you give them 2 weeks. You mean in 2 weeks you can't do a Twitter search or a Google search, and and you're only they only have to come up with 20. So in 20 you really couldn't find just one. So with that, so I came up with that. And so the purpose of it is for it to be a resource, because I'm sure, you put together different lists a lot, but it's going to be one resource, one place where you can go when you need to get someone for a panel, or you need to, you're putting together the list, and you can say, okay, here's some folks. I remember Geneva Speaks, or GenevaSpeaks.com has a list of folks, and I'll pull some of those down there. And so I'm going to put this in an embeddable format, so you can either just come to the blog and see it yourself, or you can, be a little code, so you can pull it out and take the embed and put it in your own blog post or put it on some other site, and so other people can see it. And I'm also going to have a download, so you can also, some people aren't visually on computer. They like to, I'm one of those people. I have to have my paper. I prefer my list. I prefer a pad over an app that does stuff. I need to write things down. I'm old school. So some people just like paper. So you can download it, you can take it to a meeting, you can peruse it, you can skim it, whatever, you can pass it on, whatever, it's no big deal. But it's just something out there. And I'm really excited. As I was doing it, I was getting excited doing it, because I was seeing all these great people. And I'm in a group with several Facebook groups. One of the Facebook groups I'm on is a blogging, women blogging circle, and I, as I was sharing some of those, I saw some great like Twitter profiles and some great people said awesome websites. So it was even educational, instructional for me, and I figured I would share that we have all these great people out here doing great things, and they're great role models, and they're just not role models for us, but they're role models for everyone, for all women, for just all people in general, that they're doing these amazing things, and but they need their face out there, and people need to know they exist, and they're not doing it for the cause, they're just doing it or for the applause, they're just doing themselves. Oh, and the list is, that's the other thing. I did not want to have the traditional, when they do women in tech lists, a lot of times you'll notice they'll do like journalists, or they'll do like bloggers, they'll do like people who have conferences, or fashion bloggers, and that's their tech list. And nothing against those people, because I love fashion, and I have a fashion blog, and I'm a blogger myself, I'm a journalist, and I go to conferences, and I've spoken at conferences. So nothing against those people, but they're not traditional tech. And it's really important that when you're doing a list, or you're collating a list of women in tech, that it be women in true tech, the traditional forms of tech, in terms of like coders, UX designers, app developers, hackers or gamers, or people who are like in the like true blurs, and so that's what the list is. And so I have angel funders, coders, web developers, software engineers, CTOs, so chief technology officers, tech evangelists. Let me see what else I have. Tech journalists. So I do have some journalists, but those people who do tech like in the traditional sense of tech, like they're just doing tech, not like tech light, like tech gadgets, but like actually like the technology that goes into tech. I also have some growth hackers, and so some social media marketers. That's what I do. I do social media growth, content marketing, hacking. So and tech inclusion. That's a big thing. A lot of people are tech inclusion. So all those folks are like true tech people in tech. And so they're like they have the chops, and so they can walk the walk, they can talk the talk, and they're like genuine. So anyway, so that's it. So the list is going to be out there. I'm working on it, but this is like I'm going to use Facebook Live to do my intro, because I love the Facebook Live. I've done like 2 Periscopes, like one-on-one Periscopes. Periscopes really not my thing. I like looking at other people's Periscopes. I enjoy it. And when I use Periscope, I usually just am at an event, and so I'm just showing people, hey, I'm at this concert, or I'm at this party. Look at what's going on. That's what I do. I didn't even hear, like, I see people came in, and I don't know who he's in. I don't even know. I said, hi, Ariel and Manny, and Simone and Marcella. So I have 3 people who actually came in. I don't know if you guys are still here, but thanks for stopping by. I saw people come in and go, so I'm not quite sure how Facebook's things are. I know people can chat and talk, but I don't think I can type back, and I think that's the same way Periscope works. But anyways, that's it. So it's 12 minutes, 37 seconds. That's a long time to be on here, just yapping. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for joining in. And so I'll put this video, I get to save it, I think, so I hope it saves. So I'll put this on my blog post, and I'll have the embeddable infographic and the downloadable list, and so you can share it, and so people that were out there and we're kicking ass. All right, thanks. Bye.